Welcome back to the blazing heart of Westeros, King's Landing. Last time, the full fury of round 2 crashed across these sands as 32 warriors fought with everything they had left, and only 16 emerged alive, unbroken and worthy. Steel screamed, titans fell, and those who survived did so not through luck, but through mastery, will, and the sheer refusal to bow. From old town halls to northern longhouses, the realm speaks of them in reverent tones, and the whispers sharpen into awe. If these are the 16 who remain, what monsters, what legends, what gods of the sword must the final champion be? Because from here, the climb becomes steeper. Princes, wolves, killers, and conquerors return, hardened by 2 rounds of bloodshed, sharpened, tested, and stripped of every weakness. No excuses, no reprieve, no margin for error. Only the finest warriors ever forged by the 7 kingdoms, 48, stepped into this crucible. 16 still stand, and the road ahead narrows to a single throne of glory. This is the Colossal Tournament at King's Landing. The stakes are higher, the blades are sharper. Let round 3 begin. And now, a clash born of fire and fury. The blood of conquest against the brute strength of the Hound himself. A duel where dynasties tremble and steel decides what legacy truly means. Representing the might of House Blackfyre. A warrior king in the making. A conqueror forged by rebellion and destiny. Damon Blackfyre. And his challenger, a scarred titan who seems to survive every hell the world dares to throw at him. Sandor Clegane. Royal ambition against raw brutality. A dragon's wrath against a hound unleashed. Damon Blackfyre versus Sandor Clegane. Let the fight begin. Sandor strikes first, but Damon strikes back. Oh, that shot landed. Sandor strikes, it's blocked. Oh, Damon connects. Damon strikes. The Hound connects. Now Damon. This one is starting with a bang, folks. Another back and forth. Look at them go. Now these two are teeing off on each other. One strike after another. Oh, Sandor counters. And he connects. And he knocks Damon back. Wow, that was a huge strike. Oh, Damon connects again. The Hound won't be able to put Damon down that easily. Oh, Sandor draws blood. Damon doesn't even look fazed. Oh, Sandor counters again. Will he be able to move on? Another huge strike from Sandor. Sandor strikes. Oh, Damon connects with a huge strike. And Damon is on the offensive now. He's got the Hound backed up to the wall. Damon blocks. Oh, the Hound counters again. But look at Damon. There is no giving up in this man. Gods, those are some heavy strikes. Sandor with a huge block. Sandor connects. Now Damon. Gods, folks. I have no idea how this one is going to end. Oh, Damon draws blood. The Hound is having a tough time now. Can he get himself out of it? It'll be up to him, I guess. Oh, the Hound counters. Can he finish this? Damon knocks him back. Sandor spins them around. Is this his moment? And around they go again. Who is going to move on? Sandor is swinging wildly. Gods, it's over. I can't believe it. Damon cut down the Hound. What a fight to start off the 3rd round. Damon Blackfyre will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel where the old songs meet the salt winds. A night of impossible honor, standing against the storm-forged Reaver of the Iron Fleet. Steel against salt, oath against thunder, representing the realm's greatest chivalry. A giant of a man, humble in heart, but unmatched in might. Sir Duncan the Tall. And his challenger, The Iron Captain himself, a warlord of smoke and screams, Victarion Greyjoy. Chivalric strength against drowned god fury, a towering shield against an unstoppable storm. Duncan the Tall versus Victarion Greyjoy. Let the fight begin! Dunk strikes first, and again. Dunk hesitates, and a thrust. Victarion strikes, but he misses, and Dunk strikes right back. Victarion's got Dunk backed up to the wall, though. Oh, Dunk connects. Dunk with a heavy strike. Victarion's only struck once, but he still seems to be controlling this fight. Dunk is backed up again. He needs to get himself away from that wall. Dunk knocks him back. Oh, Victarion connects again, and he misses. And Victarion knocks him back. Now Dunk connects, but Victarion is back on the offensive again. It's like his aura is keeping Dunk at a distance. But that might just fit into Dunk's strategy. Dunk knocks Victarion back. Again. Oh, Victarion connects. Duncan with a heavy strike. Who is it going to be? Only one of these two will be moving on. Dunk is swinging with precision. Both men are waiting for the right strike. Dunk swinging. Oh, Dunk draws blood. Victarion striking back. Oh, it's over. Dunk has cut down the Iron Captain with some calculated strikes. Duncan the Tall will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel of honor defined. The very pinnacle of Targaryen knighthood against the exiled Bear of the North. A battle where technique, tragedy, and loyalty collide, representing legend itself, the Dragonknight, a lover, a protector, a warrior whose name burns brightest in the histories, Prince Aemon Targaryen, and his challenger, a man of hard lessons and heavier regrets, a veteran forged in exile but steadied by resolve, Jorah Mormont. Perfected chivalry against hardened experience, a dragon's grace against a bear's grit. Aemon the Dragon Knight versus Jorah Mormont. Let the fight begin! Aemon strikes first. Now Jorah. Back and forth they strike. Oh, Jorah moves. He's on the offensive now. Aemon's backed up to the wall. Oh, Jorah shatters Aemon's shield. Jorah is a true underdog. Oh, Aemon connects. Aemon knocks him back now. Oh, Aemon connects with multiple strikes. I can't believe Jorah is still standing. I won't count Jorah out though. He has been full of surprises in every fight so far. Oh, Jorah connects. Gods, these two are landing some heavy strikes. Either of them could fall at any moment. Oh, Jorah again. Look at those blocks from Aemon. That confidence cannot be taught. It's earned. Oh, Jorah with a huge shot. There you have it, folks. Now we've got ourselves a fight. We've got some calculated strikes on display here, folks. Oh, Aemon draws blood. Look at these two go. The swordplay on display here is almost an art form. Regardless of who wins, these two both deserve our respect. Jorah's got Aemon backed up to the wall again. Can he do the impossible again? Aemon misses. Wow, that was close. And Jorah with a huge strike. Back and forth, they're at it again. This one could end at any time. All it takes is a single strike. Who is going to do it? Gods, it's over! Jorah snuck in a precise thrust and has done the impossible. He beat the Dragon Knight. Jorah Mormont will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel shaped by sheer force and unbreakable spirit. The wild fury of the free folk against the unyielding honor of the Sapphire Isle. Strength meets strength. Will meets will. Representing the free folk, a legend in his own right. A war leader whose laughter rings as loud as his victories. Tormund Giantsbane. And his challenger, a knight in all but name, a beacon of loyalty and a warrior whose determination crushes doubt itself, Brienne of Tarth. Wild might against disciplined power, a storm of the north against an immovable shield. Tormund Giantsbane versus Brienne of Tarth. Let the fight begin! Tormund connects with a thrust, and we're off! Back and forth they strike! Oh, Tormund connects again! This should be electric, folks! Tormund's aggressive style should be a huge test for the Maiden of Tarth! Tormund's keeping her backed up to the wall! Oh, Tormund connects with another thrust! Now Brienne! Another strike lands! Brienne looks confident as usual, but Tormund connects again! Tormund knocks her back, but Brienne strikes hard! Another back and forth! This one is heating up! Tormund swinging like a madman! But Brienne moves! Again! Oh, Tormund knocks her back again! Only one can move on! Will it be the red-haired legend from north of the wall? Or will it be the she-knight from Tarth? Tormund connects again! Wow! Brienne is throwing some heavy strikes! Tormund's strike lands again! Her armor is the only thing saving her ass! Oh! A huge strike from Brienne! Brienne's getting away from the wall now! But Tormund's got her backed up again! This could be devastating! She needs to get some space! A huge shot from Tormund! And Tormund is swinging wildly! Oh, Brienne shattered his shield! Could this be the difference maker? Brienne thrusts, and Tormund misses! Oh, a huge shot from Brienne! And Tormund misses a huge strike! Brienne draws blood, but Tormund isn't backing down! Oh, it's over! Gods! Brienne of Tarth cuts down Tormund Giantsbane! What a fight! Brienne of Tarth will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel of Sunfire and Starlight. The most dangerous spear in Dornish history against the most perfect blade Westeros ever forged. Speed against precision, fury against form, representing Dorne itself. Known to many as the greatest swordsman to ever live, the Sword of the Morning, Sir Arthur Dayne. And his challenger, a prince, poisoner, whirlwind of vengeance and brilliance, the Red Viper of Dawn, Oberyn Martell, a sunrise blade against a spear dipped in vengeance, elegance against lethal unpredictability. Arthur Dayne versus Oberyn Martell. Let the fight begin. Oberyn connects, but Dayne responds with a wicked strike. The Red Viper against the Sword of the Morning. Who will move on? Oberyn strikes, but Dayne pushes him back to the wall. Oberyn has struggled in this position in the past. Dayne is swinging some calculated strikes. He makes it look so easy, like his sword is just an extension of himself. Dayne connects, but Oberyn isn't fazed. The Red Viper waits for the right moment to strike, and he connects. But Dayne strikes again. Dayne connects again. Oberyn's got himself free of the wall. He needs to get some space, but Dayne is swinging with precision. Dayne landed another strike, and Dayne has him backed up to the wall again. Look at Oberyn, move like a snake in the sand. Oh, Dayne with a heavy strike. And again, can Oberyn get himself out of this? No matter how fast Oberyn moves, Dayne is just is unbelievable, folks. Dayne lands another. Is this it? Oberyn can't reposition. Dayne lands with a heavy strike. How is Oberyn still standing? This is unbelievable. Dayne lands again. Now Oberyn. God, I can't believe this. Somehow the Red Viper of Dawn is still up. Dayne has been dominating, but Oberyn continues to survive. Oh, it's over! Dayne cuts down Oberyn. That fight was incredible. How did Oberyn last that long? Arthur Dayne will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel carved from the heart of Westerosi myth. Fireborn royalty set against the last true wolf of ancient winter. Prophecy clashes with primordial strength. Representing the Silver Dragon, a prince of prophecy, a warrior poet whose skill was matched only by his sense of destiny, Rhaegar Targaryen. And his challenger, a lord carved from ice and iron, the old wolf whose honor and judgment shaped the realm itself, Cregan Stark. Fire's finesse against winter's wrath, elegance against unbreakable resolve. Rhaegar Targaryen versus Cregan Stark. Let the fight begin. Cregan strikes first. Gods! How is it possible for him to use a blade that size? Rhaegar's backing him up. A huge strike from Cregan. Rhaegar backpedals and Cregan knocks him back. Cregan again. Rhaegar is holding his own right now. Can he be the one that stops the wolf? Cregan has been nearly unstoppable in the tournament so far. Oh, Cregan with a hard thrust. And Cregan swinging wildly. Rhaegar's keeping him against the wall. But can he get the killing blow? Cregan with a heavy strike. Oh, Cregan knocks Rhaegar back again. Gods, listen to the sound of ice hitting Rhaegar's shield. I don't know how he can hold on to it. Oh, Cregan connects again. But the Dragon Prince isn't backing down. I think it's time, folks. This is a fight. These two are just teeing off on each other. One strike after another. Cregan knocks him back again. Now Rhaegar's pushing him back toward the wall again. Did Cregan connect with that one? Rhaegar strikes, but Cregan connects again. You've got to commend Rhaegar though, folks. He hasn't shown a single ounce of fear. I would be absolutely terrified. Cregan brings ice down with some heavy force. Oh, he got him! It's over! Cregan cuts Rhaegar down. Cregan Stark will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel between two of the greatest swords ever to walk the Seven Kingdoms. Age-honed mastery against golden brilliance in his prime. A battle of legends living and breathing before us, representing unmatched honor. A man with skills of a blade that have become legend, the bold himself, Sir Barristan Selmy. And his challenger, dazzling, deadly, arrogant, yet undeniably one of the finest warriors of his age, the Kingslayer, Jaime Lannister. Perfect discipline against prodigious talent. A lifetime of mastery against the spark of genius. Barristan Selmy versus Jaime Lannister. Let the fight begin. Jaime strikes, but Barristan counters. Back and forth they strike, Jaime misses. This one could be very interesting. Jaime strikes and Barristan counters again. Barristan draws blood, but Jaime connects. Oh, Barristan missed. Back and forth they strike. Jaime connected again. Gods, another. Jaime is giving Barristan a challenge now. Jaime with a brutal thrust, but Barristan is striking back. Gods, folks, this is what we came for. Two of the best at their craft. Only one will move on. But the question remains, who is the better swordsman? Oh! Jaime lands a huge strike. Oh! Barristan spins them around. Is this it? He dodges, and a miss. Jaime connects, and he draws blood again. Barristan connects. He lands another. Gods! Barristan is swinging away now, folks. Strike after strike. I don't know if Jaime can take much more of this. Barristan with a brutal thrust. Oh! Another strike lands. It's over! What a fight! Barristan cuts down the Kingslayer. Barristan Selmy will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel of crushing force and absolute resolve. The White Bull of the Kingsguard standing against the storm-crowned fury of House Baratheon. Honor meets unstoppable power. Representing the purest ideals of knighthood, a commander whose discipline was as unyielding as his blade. The White Bull, Sir Gerold Hightower. And his challenger, a conqueror whose strength shattered crowns and armies alike. The Demon of the Trident, Robert Baratheon. Unbreakable duty against overwhelming might. A shield of honor against a storm of steel. Gerold Hightower versus Robert Baratheon. Let the fight begin! Gerold strikes, but Robert strikes back. Gerold isn't backing down though, folks. Robert again. Oh, Robert shatters Gerold's shield. Back and forth they strike. Only one of these two will move on. Robert's got him backed up to the wall. Can Gerold get himself out of this? Robert with a huge strike, but Gerold counters. Here we go. The White Bull against the Demon of the Trident. Oh, Gerold draws blood, but Robert isn't fazed a bit. Gerold connects and knocks him back. Gerold sidesteps. Robert misses a heavy strike. Gerold spins them around. I don't know what's going to happen here. This one could end at any moment, folks. Hammer versus blade. All it takes is a single swing. Oh, a huge strike from Robert. Gerold's backed up to the wall. He needs to get himself out of this. Oh! Robert draws blood. Gods! How did his chest not cave in? Gerold counters again. Gods, folks! Who's it going to be? Oh, a brutal thrust from Gerold. Robert knocks him back again. But Gerold knocks Robert back now. Business is picking up now, folks. We've got ourselves a fight. Look at how aggressive Robert is, folks. Can Gerold stop him? Gerold connects. And Robert draws blood again. But Gerold counters again. Gods, how is Robert still standing after that? This is unbelievable. And Robert isn't backing down a bit. The Demon is earning his name today. Gerold counters again. But Robert isn't giving him room to breathe. The Stag King is overwhelming the White Bull here. Shot after shot, and he just keeps going. Which of these two want it more? Robert connects, but Gerold counters again. If Robert wants it, he's going to have to earn it. Gerold swinging wildly now. Oh, it's over. Robert caved in his helm. What an incredible fight. Robert Baratheon will be moving on to round 4. And just like that, round 3 of the Colossal Tournament of King's Landing comes to a thunderous close. 8 more battles, 48 legends reduced to the final 8 survivors. The Screaming Sands now know their names. Damon Blackfyre tore through fury and flame, defeating Sandor Clegane in a brutal war of will and iron. Duncan the Tall stood like a living tower, controlling the storm and breaking Victarion Greyjoy beneath unshakable resolve. Jorah Mormont shocked the realm once more, casting down Aemon the Dragonknight in a victory few believed possible. Brienne of Tarth faced the wild wrath of Tormund Giantsbane and endured, carving victory from sheer courage and indomitable heart. Arthur Dayne proved once again why his blade is legend, mastering Oberyn Martell in a display of flawless, terrifying precision. Cregan Stark survived fire itself, overcoming Rhaegar Targaryen in a battle that froze the blood of every soul watching. Barristan Selmy and Jaime Lannister painted the arena red, but it was the old lion of the Kingsguard who stood last, battered but unbroken. And Robert Baratheon thundered through steel and honor, breaking Gerold Hightower in a clash that shook the very bones of the arena. Now, only 8 remain, 8 warriors of blood, legend, and iron will, each one carrying death in their hands and history on their shoulders. Next time, the final 8 will be torn into the final 4. The final 4 will be broken into the final 2. And from that fire, one name will rise above all others, a king of combat, a legend eternal, the champion of the Colossal Tournament. The drums of fate are beating, the sands are waiting, the end approaches. This is the Colossal Tournament of King's Landing.